So where are you?
I'm in Idaho.
Idaho. Oh, okay. Potato land.
Yeah, yep. Just swimming in them.
Cool. So you got free potatoes for us?
Gosh, I don't even get free potatoes for myself. Although, if I went back home, I probably could because I do know a lot of potato farmers.
I bet you do. You probably married one, right?
No, no, I did not actually.
No.
I got out of where I'm from is a farm country, and there's a lot of farmers of all different crops, but of course, potatoes is one of them. But I live in Boise, and there's not a whole lot of farm country up here.
Right. I don't think I've been to Boise, but I know of it, but never been there.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's called the City of Trees, so we have lots of different kinds of trees, and we're in a valley, which can sometimes be an issue when there's fires. The fires will get stuck
Yeah.
in the valley. But yeah, it's a pretty area.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm just turning on my lights. There we go.
What part of Canada are you in?
We're Kelly and I both live in Hamilton, which is basically 45 minutes west of Toronto.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
we're on the west end of Lake Ontario.
Oh, nice.
So if you drive from Toronto to Niagara Falls, you go right through Hamilton and you go around the end of the lake and then over to the falls.
Oh,
So we're
that's
halfway
cool.
between Niagara Falls and Toronto.
Oh, that's
Yeah, so
really cool.
if people come to visit, we got to take them to the falls. You know, that's on the list.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so how far of a drive is it to the falls?
40 minutes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and Niagara on the Lake is our wine district, right?
Mhm.
So my son has a bicycle tour company, and he has like 200 bicycles, and people rent them and do wine tours.
How fun.
Yeah, it's cool. It's totally cool. So
That
you
is
go to four wineries and you have to bike to each one of them, right? So it's a fun day.
so smart. So smart too. I mean, I can't. There's still probably going to be wrecks on bikes, but they won't be hopefully as detrimental as behind a wheel.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I go out every so often. I go out and tour guide for him when he's overrun on the weekends, right? And it's usually during COVID, it was all women because they couldn't do anything else indoors for their wedding parties and
Mhm.
all that stuff, you know.
Right.
So and it's funny when they start out on bikes, they're very polite and very accommodating, and then after they've had a couple of glasses of wine, they're shooting off in front of you like going like a bat out of hell. It's fun.
Oh, it sounds very entertaining. Oh,
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun.
a
And
couple fun
uh,
things. Go ahead.
sorry,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna the I think there was only one group of guys that I ever did, and it was a interesting mix. They were all from this skating school.
Like
So some of them
like
were hockey players and
skateboarding.
no ice skating.
Of course, ice skating. Oh my goodness, of course,
Yeah,
right.
this is Canada, the Great
I
White
know.
North. You
Geez,
know,
where in the world was I thinking?
yeah, too many potatoes. That's what it was.
They can make vodka out of potatoes, so that could be part of it.
Yeah. So this group was a mixture of hockey players and dance skaters.
Huh.
So you got guys that are a little bit dainty, and then you got rough and tough hockey players in the same group, right?
Oh my gosh, I'll bet that was really entertaining, and they probably all got along great. Because I think for the most part, hockey players are pretty polite.
They did, but it was definitely it was like dressing room talk, you know. It was definitely colored.
That's funny. So like trying like did they come in together as a group or did they just end up being grouped together?
No, no, they came in as a group together.
How funny. That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. I mean, COVID was pretty, I don't know how it was down there for you, but up here, I mean, everything just ground to a big halt, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the good thing was they opened it up in the summer. So my son is with his business. They were open all summer, and they were like the only game in town, basically. You know,
Yeah.
for all these women parties, bachelorette parties, and stuff. It
Right.
was crazy.
So does he do like the tours and stuff over the winter too? I mean, I know it gets pretty brutal up there, but you can still maybe bike in that.
uh, he's starting to. He's branching out. He added e-bikes, and he's just added some buses, like
Oh, nice.
limousine type buses, so he can actually do tours in the winter as well. Because the wineries are open,
Yeah,
but you can't really ride a bike.
right.
You know,
You have to
it's
get
too
like a
much.
sled at that point.
That's it. So you got to go by vehicle. So he's
Yeah.
getting into that too.
Awesome.
He's doing well. He's a good lad, my boy.
It sounds like a really fun thing to not only come up with, but to do day in and day out, you know.
You have kids?
I have one. I have a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still at home?
Yeah, yeah. He is just barely got his driver's permit, just barely got his first job. Um, yeah, yeah, he's 15. He loves to play guitar. His name's Hendrix. And he lives up to his name. He loves to play guitar. He's a really good kid too. Really, really sweet, caring, considerate, respectful little dude. I'm pretty lucky.
So you named him after Jimi Hendrix?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. If we had a
Very cool.
girl, we were gonna name her Halen. So we had music names for both of them, but we just had the one. So
Aha. Very good. So have you heard our album?
I have, and it's really really awesome. I there's so many. Well, I don't know if we need to wait for Kelly or not, but he had sent it my way, and I was really I didn't know, and this is so embarrassing and bad on my part, but I didn't know it was going to be an instrumental, and I love instrumentals, and so I was really excited to dig into it. And it's really cool how it switches gears from song to song, but yet still maintains that like cohesiveness in between, you know, it still like flows, but every song offers a different kind of style of music. The um, economy acoustic, I felt like I was like transported to a beach and like had my, you know, a beach drink. And I love music that can do that, that can, I don't have to work to be transported, you know, it just takes me on an adventure. And I feel like it does that.
Yeah. I don't know if you noticed, but the economy acoustic and the gathering
Uh-huh.
is the same piece of music.
Oh, I didn't. Huh.
If you when you next time you listen to the gathering,
Okay.
you know where the choir comes in.
Uh-huh.
Okay, well that economy of motion da 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 is exactly that acoustic version.
How fun. So what made you decide
Yeah,
to sorry, Kelly. We just kind of dived right into it.
is he in? I see his
I
name, but
think
I
he's
don't
on
see
his
it.
way in right now.
Cool,
It's just when he gets in, we should be like, okay, thanks for your time. Bye.
cool. So I wrote the acoustic piece first,
Okay.
and then I thought what I'd like to do is have an orchestral intro for the album based on that same theme. So then I wrote the orchestral version after that.
How cool.
But yeah, most people don't notice that it's the same theme, right?
No, well, because it's presented so different. Sorry, we kind of just hopped right in, Kelly. We're already almost done. No, I'm just kidding.
Half done? Okay. I'll go brew some coffee. I'll be back.
No,
I'll have a regular.
What's that?
I'll have a large regular, Kelly.
Okay. Taking
Large
notes.
regular.
All right, with ice.
And some donuts.
Cool.
I'll have some donuts. And Mika's going to provide the potatoes.
I'm sending the potatoes.
Interesting combo.
There we go.
We've already decided. So how big is Hamilton? Are you guys like really, really far apart, or are you guys pretty close together? Is it a smaller town?
It's both,
like
what, 500,000? 500,000.
Oh, it's okay.
It's fairly big.
Yeah, okay.
But we're really not that far away,
That's cool.
generally speaking.
No, it's about 10 minutes to Kelly's place from mine.
Oh, nice.
And Mike, our bass player, lives like 10 minutes the other way. Not even.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So
we're all in the same area, basically.
So why the 12 years in between the two albums when you guys are neighbors?
That's the loaded question.
Yeah. Lots going on.
Well, you see, we actually don't get along well, so we have to have long periods of time in between. So.
Well, you Canadians definitely have the terrible personalities and attitudes. I'm sure it's just nonstop.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a reputation. That's for sure.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, so just busy with other stuff.
Well, just there would be things that would pop up too, unexpected stuff. And generally, we weren't really in a hurry to put one out in a timely, like, you think the usual album cycle is like every 2 years or whatever. We weren't really governed by that. So when the tunes started to come together, and then they started to grow and expand, we started to realize, we're gonna have to spend more time than we had initially laid out for this track, to get it in the direction that we're now seeing it, capable of going, and now do that with every track.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, a couple of years go by, and then some more. That thing, COVID, probably didn't help a lot either, did it? No.
I'm sure not.
No,
Although some people it helped a lot because then they had the extra time and room to be able to work on stuff.
That is true. That is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in terms of like being able to get together and stuff like that, it definitely halted for a while there.
For sure. So you guys have been
also,
working
Kelly,
on it. Go ahead.
Kelly's a very slow learner.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He's not very good at his instrument.
Yeah, I'm still learning. It's only day 2. Give me a break.
He's finally got the E chord down really good.
Yeah.
It's a hard chord.
It's
Yeah, there we go.
So you guys have been working on it for a long
Working
time.
on A.
Yeah.
He's working on A
A.
and B right now, and it's coming along pretty good. He's going to play all 3 chords pretty soon.
Then you guys can be a punk band.
That's it. Exactly.
No, afraid not.
So you've been working on it for a long time. How does it feel to finally have it out and release then? I mean, I know it's been almost 2 months now, but still, I'm sure it feels new after working on it for that long.
Yeah, go ahead, Kelly.
Yeah, no, that definitely. I mean, just to be able to hold it, in our hand and go, there it is, and we can listen to it whenever we want.
Right.
It's definitely cool. We're really looking. Oh, there it is.
It's
Looking
so
forward
cool.
to getting other people to finally hear it as well, right?
Right. Ooh, yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Oh, it's presented really nicely.
Here we go.
There we go.
Cool.
That's really cool.
That's me on the bike. I'm the old guy riding downhill.
It looks like Ebenezer Scrooge with the scarf and the hat.
right? I thought
Well,
it
the
was
other
clever,
the other thing
clever
we
rep-
get is the other thing we get is what's the movie where they're riding in the
E.T.
bicycles in the air?
E.T.
E.T.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, we get people say it looks like E.T.
I think it looks cool. Hey, it also could be the Wicked Witch too with the bike. But no, I think it looks really cool. It's got a really cool clean look and fits the style of the album too.
Cool, thanks. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was telling Steve that I really like how the album um it is really cohesive, but yet every song is kind of a different style. Like there's some Spanish style guitars in there. There's, like I said, like kind of the tropical where you feel like you're being transported to a beach. There was the more of like the breathy kind of Pink Floyd kind of sound. Every song
Mhm.
has some, there was parts that I felt like, oh, I feel like I'm in a video game. The thrill of the chase, I was like, I feel like this totally could be the background of a chase. Like it's so interesting how um there's just different styles, but yet it all fits together. I'm curious how you come up with the names of the songs, especially since there's no lyrics, you have to go by the feel of the music. So how do you come up with the names?
Well, I'll take over from there.
Yep, you're good.
Basically, Kelly and I had a conversation way back about because our basic daily mission is to get better with our playing. So one of the real key elements to doing that is economy of motion. So what you do is athletes do this all the time, and that's why the guy on the bike. So everybody does economy of motion, and they have no idea they're doing it. It's really universal, right?
Right.
So what I pictured was musicians and athletes basically do the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just different application. We apply it to music, and they apply it to whatever event they happen to be participating in. But it's the same process, right? It's a daily process of how do you get better.
Yeah.
Now the 100-meter guys, or the 100-yard dash, I guess you would call it, those guys look at videos and they're looking for a fraction of a second to get a fraction of a second faster.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not exactly how we do it, but the principle is the same in that through economy of motion, you can get speed and fluidity,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So then what I thought was, okay, to give the album a concept, let's structure this as if it was a Olympic event.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically where the titles came from. So if you look at the first track, which is we used to call the orchestral intro, is The Gathering.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you picture, if you're watching Olympics on TV or you're at the stadium, when all the athletes come into the stadium, it's really an awesome event, and
Right.
it's very majestic and it's really cool because you don't know what's going to happen, and there's a lot of tension and there's a lot of anxiety, but it's a thrill as well, right?
Yeah.
So that's how we set up the intro. That's why we did the orchestral intro. The other idea for that too was in a live show, the orchestral intro would be the intro music to the show, and the band would actually come in with Let the Games Begin, which is the piece that
Oh.
kicks in with the heavy guitar after that, right?
Yeah. Right.
So you would play the orchestral intro, we would take the stage, there would be that nice low drone, and then basically we can come in whenever we want, whenever we're ready.
Right.
And then it just kicks you between the eyes with that first piece, which is really short. And then you have the little music box piece, right? Mm-hmm. Which is the same theme again as the acoustic, right?
Huh.
So that's basically how we tied it together. And then if you look at the last track on the album, it's called The Celebration.
Yeah. And it
it's the
slows
closing
way down.
So in between, you've got all the intensity of like Best Foot Forward, the Chase of the Thrill, all those things, and they're pretty intense.
Yeah.
You know, the album it can definitely be intense. So I thought Late Night would be a perfect piece to let the listeners settle into the album and not just throw everything at them, you know. So you have a moment, and I saw that as the reason I called it Late Night is after you've competed in an event, as you replay that in your evening time when you're by yourself, thinking, could I have done better? Did I do my best? Did I win? All those kind of things. But you get into a more relaxed state, and then you can take on the next day, right?
Yeah.
So that's really how the titles came about.
That's so creative. That's so creative. And yeah,
Well,
Celebration definitely sounds like an ending type song, even though it's still like full of a lot of different like shifts throughout it. It's more of, yeah, kind of the breathy one.
yeah, and I wasn't even sure that track was going to make it because it definitely took on a life of its own as we got into it. We kicked the crap out of it to get it all to work.
I'm so glad it did make it. I like it a lot.
My wife, that's her favorite track. Unusual stuff. I mean, it goes into a bass solo in the quiet section. I mean, that when I suggested that to Mike, he kind of looked at me and went, "A bass solo here?"
Yes.
I went, yeah.
Just trust me.
Do it.
It's really, you would never expect a bass solo where it is. You know?
Right.
I mean, it's so you go into this quiet moment and there's a bass solo. It's like, what were you guys thinking? Smoking something.
That's what's cool about progressive music, though. You get to do some unique things with progressive music that you might not be able to do with other styles of music.
Definitely.
Yeah, well, Kelly was with me for the first album we did, and all the players we had, they weren't quite up for what we wanted to do with this one. So Kelly's only carryover from the old band, really. But what we wanted to do was we wanted to try and throw away there's a box of everything you know and everything you're capable of, and we wanted to throw that away, only to realize that you just end up with the bigger box.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was a valiant attempt, and in the process, I was a lot of the stuff is rhythm driven, so I would work on these unusual grooves until I was living in them, until I was totally comfortable with them.
Yeah.
Then sometimes I could, like Latino 7, I played that groove for like maybe several months till I was just totally locked into that. I felt free to move around within it. And then I came into the studio and it took me maybe 2 days to lay the core music down for that.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was already solidified.
To hear the music. I was starting to hear the music as I was playing the groove, right? I just got to that point. I do that. And that's what took the time. I mean, the time signature stuff on this album is all over the place, which is, it's not that difficult to play in a time signature, but it's a whole other issue to make that groove, right? To make that really feel like it's natural, because it's not.
Right.
When you groups of 3, everything we do is groups of 2 and 4. With the way we walk, even your heartbeat is in, out, in, out, in, out.
Right.
So everything is groups of 2. As soon as you throw 3 into the works, everything changes. And it changes in a good way. So all of a sudden, if you've got a group of 2 and 3, that gives you 5. Then you got a group of 2 groups of 2 and a group of 3. Now you got 7. And you can see how that can just blossom into a whole pile of different things, which feel very unusual. But Latino 7, that's in 7/8. So it's 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3. We call that our dance track.
I'm still waiting to see that dance, by the way.
Well, now I need to see it.
Yeah.
This was really good.
You've seen
You're a jack of all trades.
This is why we're not
James
shooting a
Brown's
video for
got-
that song.
James Brown's got nothing on me.
That's right.
So, are you guys?
So yeah, I would.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So I would assume that you guys are pretty well versed in music theory then.
Yeah, we
Absolutely.
definitely we converse that way frequently.
Yeah.
I mean, not like a "Hey, how you doing" in music theory, but when we're talking about, we're trying to hash out a part or whatever, then yeah, we're pretty fluent in doing it that way and discussing it that way.
So when you guys started looking for the new band members, was it hard to find people that spoke the same language? Because not every musician, and not even probably the majority of them, know music theory.
Actually, we just stripped them down. We just
Oh, okay.
less of us, yeah. So
they don't necessarily need to know it.
No,
Yeah.
well, the original band was what, five. Yeah, because we had a singer, keyboard player, different bass player, and myself and Steve. But it's now a trio at the moment, or at least the recording was basically a trio format.
Yeah.
With additional stuff here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But
So it was fun on this album. I actually got to play. I did almost all of the keyboard work, and I played the acoustic guitars on Economy Acoustic, and that was basically because of COVID. And Al, who sang on our last album, came in, and him, myself, and my wife Nicole were the choir on the orchestral intro.
Oh, that's cool.
So we did 100 tracks of vocals on that.
100.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I wanted
have
to
to
create
wrap my head around that. That's a lot.
Yeah. So what I did is I worked out all the parts,
Mm-hmm.
and I sang all the parts, and of course I doubled them all.
Mm-hmm.
So that was 30 tracks. And then I got Al to come in, and he pretty much doubled everything I did. So that gave us 60.
Yeah.
And then because there's 2 male voices and 1 female voice, I had to do 40 of Nicole to kind of balance it out.
Huh.
So there's 100 tracks of vocals.
Wow. That's crazy. Oh, it's always interesting after I talk to musicians about the process of coming up with, whatever their album they're releasing. I always listen to it in a whole new light afterwards. So I'm really excited to go back and listen to this again, knowing these things.
Behind the curtain a little bit, yeah.
Right. It's just interesting.
Yeah. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. He's only the guitar player.
Not an important part.
I love that word. I love that word, only. Okay.
So when did you, Steve, know that do you remember the moment of when you decided, I want to play drums, this is going to be my instrument, this is what I want to do for a living? Do you remember that pivotal moment?
Pretty much. I was probably about 9 or 10. So that's when I was pounding on the furniture at 7 and 8. I think I was almost 12 when I got my first drum kit.
Oh, wow.
And I was almost 13 when I had my first band.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when I came in, I'm now 71, so I'm an old guy.
Oh, wow.
When I was listening,
you age well.
Well, that's a good thing. Thank you. When I started, I was listening to surf music,
Mm-hmm.
Beach Boys, Jan and Dean, and instrumental music, which is interesting because now we're doing instrumental music in the Ventures.
Yeah.
Do you remember
Oh, yes.
I wouldn't say remember, but you know of the
Ventures. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so that I had I was hooked long before the Beatles even started. And I actually recall sitting with my parents watching the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show. And I made a bet with my dad. I said, these guys are going to be around for a long time. My dad's going, they're just a flash in the pan.
Oh.
Nobody will know who they are next year. So I bet him $10. I bet him $10. I said, Dad, I'll bet you $10. They're around for a long time. I collected 20 years later.
Oh gosh, yeah, gosh. You should have said like every year that they're successful. Then you could have just retired on that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Seasonal allowance.
But
So
I
it-
did see the Beatles in Toronto in '64.
Oh, that's so cool. I'll
Which
bet
was
that was neat.
Really cool at Maple Leaf Gardens.
Uh,
And it was cool because I actually did a lot of shows there myself after the fact. So that was really cool.
kind of a full circle moment there then.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. My son's a huge Beatles fan too. So it was surf music. Was there
Surf
was
music.
there I mean I got to see Brian Wilson a few years ago with Beach Boys and it was amazing.
Cool.
They did Pet Sounds when we had gone and seen them. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was in 20
That's an awesome album. Yeah.
It's so good. 2017 or 2018. It's been a little while ago, but so I mean, was there a certain drummer that stuck out to you that you were like, that's my instrument, or was it more just like that's just what it felt like you wanted to be like doing, like you said, drumming around on the furniture and stuff?
Well, I did actually start playing guitar at the same time.
Oh, okay. You were doing both.
So, but drums was my instrument of choice. But I was playing both. So
Okay.
I had a full-on band at that point. So yeah, I always knew I wanted to do music. And when I first moved, I moved to Toronto right out of high school. And my mom saw this ad in the paper, so I became a management trainee for a bank. And they said, well, you can't stay here because I was outside of Hamilton here in a tiny little town. And they said, okay, well, you got to move to a city. Where do you want to go? Well, of course, I want to go to Toronto because that's where all the music is.
Right.
So I ended up doing the bank for 2 years and then I quit and joined a band.
That's awesome.
My parents were devastated.
Oh, I bet. I bet. Hopefully not anymore though, after you kept going. What about you, Kelly? I don't know if I've ever asked you that question before.
Oh, the origin story. Where did it start?
Yeah, like when did you decide that this is what you wanted to do?
It was about the same age as Steve. I think I was 9, and I remember watching. It was either Much Music, the Canadian version of MTV, which
hopefully was better than ours.
Well, it had its day too. Yeah, for sure. It was either that or a show called Toronto Rocks that was like a daily video show, one of the two. And I remember seeing the video for ZZ Top's, I think it was Legs video, where they had the spinny guitars, right? Fuzzy guitars that span is that a word? Would spin on their on their belt buckle. And I'm just like, it's like the least musical thing in the world. But as a 9-year-old, to see that, I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Right? So I walk into the kitchen and I asked my mom, can I play guitar? Actually, I think I wanted to play drums initially. Like I just walked in, Mom, can I play drums? And you could see in her head, she's thinking, okay, we don't have a very big place. They're loud as hell. Yeah, she said, she didn't say no. She says, you know what, maybe, how about like violin or guitar? Like she didn't discourage the playing of anything at all. It was just, that was her gentle way of saying, please, just not the drums. So I went, okay, guitar, we'll do that. So yeah, I think it was about 9 when that happened.
Huh. And both of you guys, did you both just like hit the ground running like, okay, I just practicing all the time, or did you have to like warm into it where it was like, oh, this is kind of fun here and there, and then kind of amped up to being more serious?
Well, as soon as I could play Jingle Bells, from the Mel Bay book one, I knew, okay, even as a 9-year-old, I knew it was kind of corny. But I was like, but I recognize it, and I'm clearly able to do this to some degree, so I'm going to stick with it because despite being a good little Canadian boy, I couldn't skate. So my hockey dreams are out the window. So I'm like, okay, all my friends are playing hockey. I'll do this. And I was super shy as a youngster as well. Like, it was really quiet and really shy. So perfect. I don't need anyone else to play the guitar. I don't need to be around anybody. I don't need to, you know what I mean? Like, on a team,
Right.
you're surrounded by people and you have to interact with them in certain ways and whatever. I mean, I eventually got over it, but I think the guitar helped.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Get over that.
What about you, Steve?
Well, yeah, I just followed what I wanted to do. I wanted to play music. I was totally enthralled with it. It was magical to me. And even to this day, when I look at a nice drum kit, it's like, oh, it does something. Oh, it really does. So I had the bug way back then, and I never really lost it. I just and it's funny because as I went through my career, I started playing full time in 1970, and I was playing in a 50s rock and roll band. And I was playing the club circuit in Toronto up and down Yonge Street, which is the main drag. And then I heard Tower of Power, and that music changed my life. I said, I gotta play this stuff. This is so cool. So I quit that band. I joined them when they started. They became one of the top club acts in Toronto, and I quit. And I put together an R&B band, and I did a whole summer up at a resort. It's called Wasaga Beach, which is north of Toronto here. And I had a 6-piece R&B band, and I was playing all the typical R&B hits and all the Tower Power stuff, which is a real challenge to play. And then when I left that, I went back to playing rock, but I brought all my R&B chops with me, basically.
Yeah.
So then I got an offer to play in a famous Canadian band called Flood that had some hits in the 70s. And when I joined Flood, Jimmy Crichton was the bass player and Peter Rochon was the keyboard player. Brian Pilling was the singer. He had leukemia. So he had a remission. It broke down. It's really hard to get the second one, and he never got it. So he was sick. So we had to basically fold the band. And then Peter and Jimmy and myself stayed together to form a band that was called Pockets, which was actually the first version of Saga.
Okay.
And then this is where we are now after all the Saga stuff. There's a lot of stuff in between, but
Yeah.
I was just following whatever turned my crank musically. Oh, I got to play that. Okay, I'm going to quit this band. I'm going to join that band. It was never about the money. It was always about the challenge, right? I always wanted to learn more stuff, and I still have that. So I still play every day. And my goal is always to learn something new. If you learn one new thing every day, it keeps you moving forward.
Yeah.
And that, I think that's part of the reason it took us so long to do this album. I would take extended periods of time where I'm just playing every day, and my wife was still working in Toronto. So I'd play for 4 hours during the day. And I had this thirst to learn new stuff. So I'd be working on that. I wouldn't call anybody. Kelly wouldn't hear from me. Nobody'd hear from me. And I'd be just wailing away on the drum kit, figuring out how to play stuff that I didn't already know how to play. Right. So it was all about learning new things. And it's kind of a mixed blessing with this album. we've done so many new things that none of us had done before. And we had no idea what they were when we started. So we had to spend the time and the due diligence to really figure out how to make that groove, how to make that work, even though we'd not done that before.
Yeah.
So it was, that's what took the time. There was other factors too. And Kelly and I have done quite a few albums together and separately on top of this album. It wasn't like we just did this album. We did several other albums in that time period.
Mm-hmm.
There was all kinds of stuff going on. It's just all about making music, and your day's full of it. One day it's this, another day it's something else. But this was always going on, particularly in my life, in my day schedule. Oh, I got something in my eye. So it was just constantly going on, and you just immerse yourself in it, and it's a joy to do that. I make and Kelly's the same. He makes his coffee, he's got his guitar on his lap, and he's playing. That's how you start the day. Well, for me, I have my coffee first, then I go play. It's
Don't play while you're don't drink coffee while you're playing. That might be messy.
I can do that, but most times I don't.
Oh, well, that doesn't surprise me that you guys play as much as you do. Yeah. No, it definitely
it's really a ritual. And music is a language, so we're constantly learning how to articulate our language. It's just a daily thing, and it's a lifestyle.
Yeah,
it really is a lifestyle, especially at this point. The good thing now is, particularly for me, is I'm in a position now, being 71, having this studio. I don't have to do anything if I don't want to, which is really cool, because now I don't have to say yes to somebody I want to say no to.
Yeah.
Right. It's really it's invigorating to be able to be like that. You are total control of making your own decisions, and that's a wonderful feeling. And with this whole project now, I just been talking to European labels and with mixed results. But if they say no, I can say no, and I have. If I don't like what they're saying, I just say no. It's really cool to be able to do that. Whereas in your younger day, you're going, can I have a record deal? It's way more. Oh, somebody's messaging me. It's way different now, because I feel like we are in control of our own destiny.
Yes.
And I think that's the beauty of this album, in that we've done exactly what we felt we wanted to do. And we don't particularly fit in any particular category. Go away. Somebody's messaging me. We don't fit into any particular category, because we were exploring all these different directions, which is a mixed blessing. So when it comes to a record deal, we don't fit on just about every label out there. We don't.
Yeah.
Even the prog labels. And I spoke to several of those, and we don't fit. Because of Latino influence going on, and we got African rhythms happening, and we have made an album that is the way I see it, as being truly original.
Yeah.
As much as we possibly could. And I'm glad we don't fit. You can't stick a label on it and say this is, prog rock, blah blah blah, and it sounds like Yes, or it sounds like Supertramp, or it doesn't. I mean, there's obviously going to be influences. It's the same language.
There's elements.
But I think we've made something that is unique.
I agree.
And it was totally a collective effort. I mean, Kelly and Mike had a ton of input. I always think because the stuff was rhythmically driven, we would sit down and we would talk about how I'm breaking down grooves and counting things so that they could actually have the that implanted when they started to work on their parts.
Yeah.
Their ideas.
Right.
So it was really cool. I mean, and Kelly and Mike and I get along so well together. There is no stress when we record. I live in my control room basically, so there's no fear of recording.
Mm-hmm.
And the same for Kelly. I mean, when we're in this room, because there's no pressure on, we either get something done, and we usually do, or we don't. If not, it's okay.
Right.
Right.
Drink beer.
So you take all the pressure off.
No,
You
that
take all
doesn't sound like
pressure-
you.
When you take all that pressure off, all of a sudden you're free to create.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we did
So
I can't think of a single session during the entire course of doing this album where we did not end up with something accomplished. Like a lot of the time, a lot of the sessions were, I would be teaching full time at a music store. I'd be done at 9 at night. We go to Steve's, and then we would be about almost 10 o'clock before we got started. So already tuckered after a long day of teaching and all that. Now we got to be warmed up, creative mind space, and and even during that circumstance, we've always been able to put something together and like be happy with it every single time. So yeah, I can't literally think of a single time where you and I walked away scratching our heads going, we'll try again tomorrow. And I'm pretty sure every single time we got something that was good.
That's so unique. That's so unique. That doesn't happen with a lot of band members.
No, that's true.
No, that there's no egos. I mean, it's all about just the joy of making music together. And we never fought about anything. It was just, okay, this is not working. Let's try this.
Yep.
And that was constant. And we did kick the crap out of some of these tunes to get out of them what we wanted. I mean, I'm definitely one of the main things that I love jazz players, and I think they're incredible. But I sometimes come away feeling that there's no melodies. And I walk away impressed, but I don't take anything with me.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the main things that we really were sticklers about is every piece of music on that album had to have a melody that you could, on first listening, take away with you, right? Which is what takes it out of the jazz syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Because so often I'm impressed by the players, but what did they play? I don't know, but it was great.
True.
With this, you have something you take away with every piece.
Yeah. And
melody,
probably every listen too, because it's so diverse.
There's a lot of
there's layers of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. One label that does come to mind that would make sense with the album is I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right, but Ipecac, Mike Patton's label, because you never know what you're getting out of there. It's always very different styles of music and stuff. So that would be one I could see you guys fitting under, with not fitting a certain mold of music,
Interesting. I didn't even realize he had a label.
Yeah. Melvin's are actually on it. It's called Ipecac. It's IPECAC, I believe.
IPECAC?
I'm pretty sure that's how you spell it. But yeah, he's got it's Patton, so it's all weird stuff anyways, and it's all over the board. But I've heard a few other bands off of there, and I'm like, oh, it's just always going to be unique, and I love that. I personally prefer music to throw me off and it not to be something that I'm going to expect. And that's what I really liked about this album too, is every song you just didn't know what to expect. And even within the songs themselves, like Celebration, you know, there's a lot of different changes throughout it that even if you're in the same room of a song, it still will take you into different parts of that room.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Because
Yeah.
that's kind of the intent, the idea of going for a journey
Definitely.
and not really knowing where you're gonna go. Like if you're right, if you plan a trip with your family to your cottage, it's a journey. But if you've been there before, you know exactly what you're gonna see along the way. So this is sort of like a blindfolded journey.
Yeah.
Any one of these songs, you're like,
Yeah.
okay, where are we going? What are we
Yeah.
gonna see next? Right?
But you very quickly trust that you're going to enjoy where you go, even though you don't know where it's going to go. And that's really cool too, because not all bands are able to do that when they're doing different things. There are moments in a lot of bands that do that to where you're like, ooh, okay, I'm not sure about that, or ooh, I don't know how I feel about that. And it's not, you don't have that in this. You're like automatically, you're like, okay, this is going to be good, and I'm just gonna, close my eyes and trust that I'm going to enjoy this
Cool.
journey.
Well, that's good that we were able to instill confidence in the listener, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like
I
an
like
evil
the way
kid.
you express that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I listen to a lot of music, and
Yeah.
the experience is especially the first experience, right? Anymore, there's so much music out there anymore. The first experience really determines whether it's gonna be something you're gonna continue to listen to or not, you know? And so yeah, you guys did a fantastic job of making it very exciting and enjoyable, and it's one, again, I think after every listen there's going to be different melodies that stick. There's going to be different songs that you're like, okay, this one's my favorite. Oh, no, I think this one's my favorite. Actually, now that I've listened to it for the 10th time, this one's, I think, is my favorite, you know? And that's really cool. There's not a filler, right?
Good. Very cool.
Right. There's no filler on the album. Every piece belongs to be there.
Yeah. And
I
love
actually like the way you express that when you said that you trusted it. That's actually really a very good way of expressing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna have to borrow that.
That's
Do
going
it.
on a t-shirt.
Take it. Yeah, I don't know how to I don't even know how you'd
Yuka
write.
says, just trust it.
Oh, no, you're going to lose all credibility if you use my name on there.
Yeah, trust me.
Right, there you go.
Trust me, I'm a doctor.
Close your eyes, take my hand, and trust me. All right. Yeah. No, I love it.
You're also
Go ahead. Sorry, I think I interrupted you.
Oh.
I was just going to say, you're also right. There's lots of surprises on the album. You don't really know which way it's going. Just when you think it's going left, it goes right. And that again is some of the stuff that really took the time to explore where we could possibly go.
Yeah, well, it's super creative, and I really appreciate I mean all the time and energy that obviously goes into making music at all, but how much it sounds like you guys put into this. It definitely paid off, and I appreciate, you know, my ears appreciate being able to listen to good music that I really enjoy.
It helps.
Cool.
It helps. Oh, we're glad it had that impact.
Yes, very much so.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, I don't want to keep taking a whole bunch of your guys' time as much as I'm really enjoying our talk. I'm sure you guys got other music to be able to start working on in the next 12, 13 years.
Yeah. No, don't say that. Hopefully not that long. No.
No.
Yeah, we're looking at 23, 33, 2035. We should have the next album out.
I'm holding you guys to it. I'm coming back in 2035 and saying, if it's not done, get on it.
Chop.
We already have some new stuff on the go. You know,
Is
like I say, I'm making rhythms every day. So as soon as I come up with something, I lay it down. Kelly comes over and I go, check this out. I got a new piece on the go.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
And do
yeah,
you know if is it gonna have like a kind of like a theme? I don't know if that's the right word, but like you did with this one, or do you know yet? Or is you're just in the beginning stages?
the rules are there are no rules.
Yes, I love it.
So
And I
I
and I
don't
already
think
trust it. We've learned that today.
yeah, I don't think I don't think you need to draw the lines before you start.
Yeah,
I think as you get into it, it'll lead us where we go.
yeah.
I think one of the things that will be more evident is as I start getting more into Latin percussion and congas, and there's probably going to be a bit more Latino feel to some of the tracks.
Awesome.
You know, I just love the rhythms.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't know how you feel about Latin music, but I
Oh, I
just
love
love
it
the
too.
yeah.
And I'll bring them
And
out.
that's a big influence for rhythm stuff. It's so cool because it's a completely different way of thinking.
Yeah, I
You know,
bet.
we've been when you play rock music, downbeat's always on the kick drum, and in Latin music, it's not there.
Yeah.
And it's really hard not to have it there. You're so used to that. Here's the one, here's the kick drum, right? And that doesn't happen in Latin music at all. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you really have to rethink everything you do.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, it obviously automatically does take you on a journey when it comes to Latin music. I can't remember if it's out yet or not, but Dave Lombardo's just came out with a solo album, and it has a lot of like native drumming in it, which is really interesting too. I can't remember if it's out yet or not.
I think it is. I think it is. Well,
Is
that
it?
would make sense because he's Cuban, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never
Pretty sure
looked
he's
into
Cuban.
his.
So that could be a generational influence of his,
Yeah,
perhaps.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty interesting too, though. I like when you mix different cultural sounds into music. I just think it's interesting on so many different levels. I mean, that's a onion you can peel back.
Definitely.
Yeah,
It is. I just think that it's so cool to blur the lines between, you know, this is rock music, this is salsa, this is Latin, and even the Latin stuff breaks down, and or, you know, or this is romantic prog, or this is that. It's all labels, and none of them are put on by the musicians themselves. And I think our one of our main goals is to blur those lines. It's all rhythm, and rhythm is cool,
yeah,
you know. And then the melodies can speak for themselves, suggested by the rhythms.
yeah.
That's
Who
music.
needs lyrics
That's
when
cool.
you got music that speaks like that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. Leave the damn singer at home.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You don't need it. You don't need it. Yeah. It's amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking the time with me. I'm gonna go and dive right back into it because I'm excited to hear it again.
Well, thanks for having us on.
For sure. For sure. Anytime. Anytime.
Cool.
Fantastic. It was lovely talking with you.
Same with you. Thank you. I hope you guys have a good rest of your evening, probably at this point. Pretty close to
yes.
evening.
It's still sunny, but yeah.
But it's Sunday, so it's already beer time, right?
Bingo.
Awesome. Have a good rest of your day, guys.
Thank you. You too. Talk to you.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Bye-bye.